We want to just look at some charts really quickly. We have several requests from Charts for Charity, and I have several requests from StockTwit. So, really looking forward to hopping into these and just going through them as quickly as I can. Let's start with Sonos. Sonos had a hell of a run coming up off the COVID bottom and is in kind of a wedge formation right here. We kind of at this midline that I have in the middle of the wedge. But yesterday's low was probably a very good buy, or near the low was probably a very good buying spot, at least from a risk reward potential in my opinion. Still has some room to go to break out on the RSI, and yeah, I think it's got to turn over these moving averages, and it will essentially get above 31.27 or so. And it looks like it should at least test the top of that wedge. So, pretty good. Disney, I went over this one or posted it a little earlier today. I think Disney is really setting up nicely. We have the RSI still in a downtrend. It still has some room to go up, but flipping over to the daily, it's already turned over all the moving averages. It's above the 50 right now. Once that 21 crosses over the 50, it looks pretty ready. So I kind of like Disney right now. It's holding this support line, so it looks pretty good. Boeing Weekly. I went over this Sunday in my weekly post, but it's faked out a bunch, as you can see all the way down through here. It's faked out, and I'm kind of wishing my had a little bit of FOMO. I said at 189 this would be interesting, and that was close to the midline right here. It actually did wick off that. But we got to see. As I said, Boeing has faked out a ton. And it's not just breaking above and then coming back to the line and confirming. But I really want to see it get some legs. But right now it looks pretty good. The 21's going to, if it keeps it up, we'll cross over that 50 and maybe off to the races. Waste management just been really solid for a long time. If you look back, the top of the channel here is a former support, and now it's inside the channel. So it's hit the bottom a few times. It's at the midline right now. Looks like RSI is coming down. It looks like it wants to at least come in contact with this 50 RSI. If it does, I mean, it's definitely going to fall off that 21 EMA that I have marked at 161. No, sorry, 158. But overall, I like the company. Um, let's see if this midline will hold. If it does, you could probably, I mean, if I were interested in it, I could probably get along there. Wisdom Tree Cloud Fund has been in a range. Yesterday was probably a great opportunity to buy this thing. I've had 3 days to really to buy this thing. It has some work to do, like so many uh, of the names inside the fund. You've got this downtrend line, and still hasn't quite went above the 9 EMA on the daily. I really like to see outside of a downtrend is getting above the 9 and the 21. Berkshire A, I think somebody posted this as a joke, but it's a really good chart to look at. You take the breakout here and you use that as your bottom. Has a pretty well defined bottom and top of the channel. So support, resistance, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, 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 and then it broke through. So thanks for sending this one. It's actually a really good chart study. On the weekly, you can see it held that wedge and finally popped out. So it's getting a little hot. RSI's up there, so maybe it pulls back in some. If you want to spend some money on a $480,000 stock. Square, Block, as they're calling themselves now. Man, I charted this one so long ago and put that price target there. 132.91, and it came in and hit 133.13. So it's pretty close, like 20 cents or something. But like the W Cloud names, still in a downtrend. It ran face first into the 9 EMA. I'd like to see it get above the 21. RSI is still downtrending. Digital Turbine Apps. It's been in a pretty tall range for the better part of a year and a half almost. I mean, it could bounce around between these dotted lines in the middle of the range for a while. But it does, similar to W Cloud. It is in a downtrend. It might be hitting a little bit of support. I mean, if it came in 47 again or a little bit lower, probably a good spot to take a stab with a short stop. I mean, the range is pretty well defined. It can keep going. It could go into this corner the way the downtrend line is still pointed and angled down, but not a bad spot if you want to take a shot, I guess. ROKU, a name that I formerly held for a while. I just still think that there's some movement to the downside that can happen. Got this fib laid out here of actually, there we go, like 160 range. Could easily do that, catch the bottom of the channel. So nothing that I'm really looking at. I've made my money there and moved on. I should have sold it up here, but I was on free shares, so you live and you learn. Looking at the daily, still well below the 21 and the 9 there. I don't know that it's done anything but kept breaking down. Bear flag, bear flag. You know, it tries to get its footing for a minute and then it just crashes down. So not something I'm particularly looking at, but I do wish them well. SMH, went over this yesterday on the video. Really positive movement today. Right back up into the midline. Kind of a logical spot for this to get snuffed out today. Coming up on the 9, coming up on the 21, hit the mid spot of the range. Still has some room to the upside, so let's see how tomorrow goes. Would be the 6th time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you count that one, 6. It could be the 7th time knocking on the door of the range. I was saying yesterday, just like I don't like something testing the range at the bottom of the range a lot, because I think it'll fall down. Eventually, when something keeps testing the top of the range, it's going to break out. And maybe if it gets up there this time, it does. SOFI, one of my names. I I like SOFI. It's in a position right now where it's definitely under pressure. Like other names I've mentioned on this video, under the 9, under the 21, under the downtrend. Still has work to do, but long term, I'm not worried about it. Silvergate actually played the Head and Shoulders perfectly in this name. Um, Kind of surprised it didn't drift a little further under maybe 114 ish. So talking another dollar or so that yesterday. But nice little rally today with crypto. Seemed to be turning around. Maybe it catches a bid, but again under the 9, under the 21, under the downtrend. Zoom Info, a name I really like. I've liked it for a while. Played it with options in the past, but right now it actually caught the lower channel midline, as you can see. Um, Thursday almost hit it. Friday it did and closed on it. Monday under and back over. And today, nice 6.5% move. Matterport, another high multiple name. Under the 9, under the 21, under the downtrend. RSI needs to come up, help it out a little bit. Under pressure, but long term, I think it's a name that'll be okay, but you're going to have to endure to keep it on there. We'll look at a couple other names real quick. The Q's, nice 1.5% move today. But again, still under the 9, still under 21. The SPY, under the 9, under the 21 by cents. Actually closed over. Well, no, 98. 469.84 is the 9, so it's pushing that. This was also a top that I had marked way back in November. So some resistance there, some resistance from the moving averages, but all in all, a pretty nice move. It's squeezing in here. The RSI is. So we'll see what tomorrow holds. Thanks for all the requests. Shout out to my Charts for Charity gang. And Daddy loves you. Have a great evening.